Hi, I'm Matthew Craig and you're watching The Market Bull. Joining me online today is the Managing Director of ECS Botanics, Nan Marie Scooey. Thanks for joining us today, Nan.
It's a pleasure, thanks for hosting me.
Just firstly, for those who aren't familiar, could you run us through what ECS Botanics do and what separates you from the competition?
Sure, so we're a medicinal cannabis cultivator, primarily, located in northwest Victoria. And what's different between us and many of the other medicinal cannabis cultivators or cannabis cultivators is that we grow outdoors in soil. Most medicinal cannabis is grown indoors and also hydroponically. So our focus is very much about naturally grown cannabis, you know, the way nature intended, I guess. But the benefits of that are that it's far less carbon footprint because you don't use anywhere near the amount of electricity. Indoor grows are incredibly electricity intensive. And also we think that you get better expression and the cannabis is actually of a different standard and a different quality. Not necessarily prettier, but we think it's better. So that's what we do, but in addition to that, we also have an expansive range of extracts, so made from our biomass. We also sell both gummies or pastules and capsules, which are actually made by a partner manufacturer. So we have a broad range of products. As I said, based in northwest Victoria, but our market is Australia, New Zealand, UK, Germany, and then also we're looking to go into Poland, hopefully relatively soon, and other European markets. So the target now for our growth is also very much European based, and that's a little bit about what we want to talk about today.
So ECS has just announced a German distribution partnership with Nimbus Health. Take us through the significance of this deal.
Yeah, so we've been working in Europe for a while, both the UK and Germany, and one of the benefits that ECS has is that we're fully EU GMP. Australia has a slightly different GMP requirement to Europe, so Europe is actually more stringent, and we meet the European requirements, so that positions us really well and gets us to get some of the value of being more stringent in that we can capture that market. So we've been selling on a B2B basis. About 18 months ago in Australia, we made a decision to launch our own brands, so the Avani brand and also the OzSun brand. And that's been incredibly successful for us. More than 70% of our revenues are now coming out of those brands as opposed to the B2C model. So what we've decided to do is take that same experience, I guess that really positive experience of going to our own brands, into the European market, with the first stop being Germany. So the relationship with Nimbus is purely that Nimbus will provide us with a platform in Germany to sell our own brand. So they'll be the importer, they do a lot of the regulatory stuff, they do all the logistics, the wholesaling, and help us by putting the products onto their platforms. But very much it is a case of it's our brand and Nimbus is a facilitator, as opposed to where we have B2C, where we actually white label products. After that, we would look to sort of go into other European markets, UK being the next logical step for us, but you know, one step at a time. It's taken a while to get in. So I think some of the shareholders, the existing shareholders, have heard that we wanted to go into Germany for some time. The regulatory processes are quite exhaustive. So you have to be qualified as a cultivator, and then you have to get your products, your strains actually registered. So all that's behind us now. It's a case of just exporting the product and getting it into the hands of the patients.
You mentioned the OzSun brand. That launch is imminent in Germany. What's so exciting about this brand?
So interesting enough, in Germany they call it OzSun, which I think is lovely. And when I explain to them that it's OzSun, O-Z-S-U-N, they still pronounce it OzSun because they don't say Z, they say Z, so they call it OzSun, which I think is exactly what this is about. It's really about a surfer brand. You know, the cannabis industry obviously in Germany is more recreational, so we can appeal more to that sort of rec market. We think that there is a sort of a relatively nice relationship between the Australian sun and surf and the German culture. They like, you know, they like what we do. I describe it as a brand that would go around in a combi or a VW bus. So that's kind of where it's positioning itself. But then it's sun grown, it's organic. So there are not many organic brands in Germany. And then also the fact that it's going to be positioned in that sort of budget space. So we want to have high volumes, not high price, to really get that brand out there and build brand equity.
And just lastly, what news flow can ECS investors look forward to in the coming months?
Yeah, so we've got the half year coming out, so that'll be out in the next couple of weeks, and so we're excited to get that, the final results for the half year out. There are a number of things we're working on. As I mentioned before, we're working on looking at taking the same sort of model that we have with Nimbus into the UK, so that's probably the next thing we're going to do. We've launched the Ava brand. So Ava is our women's wellness brand. So we've already launched 2 products. We've got 2 more coming out in the next couple of weeks. So that building that whole Ava space, the women's health space, we think is also going to be very important. And for us, the new products that we'll be launching in the next month or so are actually very, very much customized to women's health. So pessaries and topical creams and things like that. So far more sort of leaning to women's health, and so we expect that market to grow significantly as well. So these are the things we're working on. Lots of things happening within ECS, and we believe that these things will make a big difference to the business. It's a tough market. There's no doubt that the cannabis space is tough. Price erosion is awful. There are a lot of very cheap imports. So what ECS has got to do is find niches where we can differentiate ourselves. So that's, getting into these European markets, but also in the Australian space, carving out our own space where people value what we bring to the market.
Well, it sounds like exciting times for ECS, and I can't wait to hear what's coming up next.
Thank you.